Dan Dickau here for the Bulldog broadcast on the Field of 68 Media Network. Well, we are deep into WCC conference play now. Today's episode, we're going to talk really quickly about last week, the big news about Braden Huff, a little bit on Graham Ike, what's coming up next, as well as some big picture stuff across college basketball, because something came out late last night that if goes through, is going to send another shockwave of change through the game and how eligibility is viewed. So, but first off, thank you to our sponsors, Danetta Family Law and Associates, ICCU, Cooney's Tie, and McGilvery Environmental. Appreciate their help and support of this podcast, and you get a chance, support them back. So let's just jump right into it. So Gonzaga jumps one in the AP poll to number 8. Not much of a surprise that it was only one move up. I didn't think they were going to go up any more than they did. If anything, I thought they might have gone down simply for the fact that, a lot of the times these voters can be a little fickle in regards to how you play. Yeah, Gonzaga was 2-0 last week. They beat Washington State by 21, as well as Seattle U by 21. But the news of Braden Huff being out 4 to 8 weeks with injury, as well as Graham Ike not playing against Seattle U with an ankle injury, um, puts a little bit of, I would imagine, thought and pause in the voters' decisions about where to slide Gonzaga to. So let's just talk real quick about Braden Huff and what we know right now. So clearly, they're saying it's an injury, a knee injury, 4 to 8 weeks. There's not giving too many more specifics about that, and I wouldn't expect them to give any more specifics about that. The big thing right now is when you look at 4 to 8 weeks, if it's on the lower end, the 4 weeks, you could be getting him back for the last week or so of the regular season. If it's about 6 weeks, that puts you towards the end of the conference tournament. And if it's 8, you're now kind of walking the line right at the NCAA tournament. So, it depends on what the injury is, clearly depends on his healing process, but bigger guy with a knee like this, the biggest thing in getting back and being yourself and being comfortable, in my eyes, is going to be, the footwork and the balance that he has. You look at how he plays. He's clearly not an explosive athlete, but he works off of tremendous balance, tremendous footwork, tremendous skill to be able to create all his opportunities to score. So, the fact that he's not a crazy explosive athlete playing above the rim, I think gives you a little bit of hope that it's going to be on the shorter term side. But we will hopefully be updated on his progress from Gonzaga's SID and staff when the time's appropriate. Obviously, there's an adjustment factor that Gonzaga has to make. And when you look at that Washington State game, excuse me, I think you saw that adjustment. Early in games, it seems as if Gonzaga always establishes Graham Ike on the low block, and then Braden Huff shortly thereafter gets his turn in a lot of high-low actions and a lot of cross-screen actions and pick and roll, short roll actions. But again, they're going to change the way they play. And they showed in the Washington State game. I would say, probably 75-ish% of that those play calls in that night, when it was a play call, not just playing out of continuity, playing out of concepts, were run to Graham Ike. And a lot of them were cross screens to get him the ball in the middle of the lane, where he went to work and was absolutely dominant, where he had 23 points, 11 rebounds against Washington State. But I would imagine that becomes the staple of the playbook moving forward, even more Graham Ike dominant. But then he tweaks his foot at the end of the Washington State game, and we'll talk about that adjustment that they had to overcome at Seattle. But to stay on the Washington State game, 86-65 win, talked about Ike's dominant performance. But I thought the story of that night was Jalen Worley. I can't remember a better defensive stretch at any level.
the world's leading immersive basketball training experience that combines in-person skill development with digital gamification and virtual competition. At Shoot 360, you will train with our coaches, measure your skills with our proprietary technology, and track your progress on the Shoot 360 mobile app. Shoot 360 Spokane. Unlock your game.
Bulldog fans, we know basketball is all about teamwork, hustle, and having someone you can trust in the clutch. Life isn't much different. When challenges come your way, especially family matters, you need a strong team by your side. That's where Danetta and Associates step in. They're more than just a family law firm. They're your advocates, guiding you through the hard fouls life throws your way with skill and care. In Spokane and beyond, Danetta and Associates are ready to fight for what matters most, your family. Call 509-325-0125 or visit padlawoffice.com to learn more. That's padlawoffice.com to learn more. It's beautiful. So Jalen Worley's game was, again, one of the most impressive defensive performances I've seen that first 6 minutes, but he ended up with only 11 points, but they were impactful in transition on the offensive glass. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. And some of those steals were literally like a grown man taking candy from a baby, just ripping the ball away. And that's the kind of impact you can have when you are not a knockdown shooter or a versatile scorer. He just finds the more I watch him, the more he finds ways to impact winning. And just excited to see how he continues to evolve within this Gonzaga program over the next few weeks and leading Gonzaga, because I think he's becoming a even bigger cog to what they're doing, simply because Graham Ike tweaks his ankle at the end of that Washington State game, and he doesn't play at Seattle U on Saturday. So with that, leading into the Seattle U game, 71-50 win. No Graham Ike, as mentioned. Sputtering offense, really, in that first half. Maybe the first 12, 13 minutes, to be fair. Couldn't find any ways to get going. And then Gonzaga made a switch and went super small. Maybe the smallest I've ever seen a Gonzaga team play. Jalen Worley was playing at the 5 in a small ball lineup. You had a mixture of different guards and wings in there. St. Superi, Tyon Grant Foster. Adam Miller didn't play a lot in the second half because he struggled that night. Davis Fogel and Braden Smith with Steel Ventures playing a little bit, not a ton, because he was struggling shooting the ball from the outside as well. But I thought that group right there on the offensive end of the floor spaced the floor, attacked you on dribble drive actions, made the extra pass, attacked the offensive glass, and really kind of showed a blueprint to how to play if Graham Ike is out. Now, we don't know how long Ike is going to be out. I would imagine he doesn't play against Pepperdine tonight, but I would imagine if it's a minor ankle that he will be back against USF. But I think what it goes to show you is this team can find different ways to win. Clearly, you had the high-low dominant low post front court duo of Huff and Ike. Then it was just Ike. Now it's going to be kind of a mixture of different things. Pick and rolls, space the floor, dribble drive attacks. If they can get Miller and Venters going from the perimeter, maybe some motion screener blocker mover action. I know nobody really calls that anymore, but finding ways to get those guys open opportunities. But again, in that Seattle game, Worley was tremendous. 14, 6, 4, and 4 steals again. I thought Mario St. Superi was unbelievably good. Probably his best game yet. 20 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 4 threes. Davis Fogel is going to start getting more minutes, and this was his best performance yet against rotational players. And I've said it on different broadcasts. you know, his scoring ability in garbage time set the expectations, I think, a little bit out of line for a lot of people because he wasn't doing it against, starters or rotational guys. The fact that he had 13 points, I thought, in a controlled effort against Seattle U is going to be a huge confidence boost for him, confidence boost for the program, the coaching staff, knowing that, hey, that's something to build on with him in rotational minutes. The other couple areas where Gonzaga, I thought, really was good was forcing turnovers. They're so active on that defensive end of the floor with that lineup that we talked about. They can switch, they can trap, and they do it in an aggressive manner with the switching and the trapping, not just uh, to kind of be complacent or to just take something away. It's to attack something to gain an advantage. And then the other area where they were really good were they were plus 20 on the glass, where they were not able to really enforce their dominance in Spokane, where they were actually -1 on the glass. So all in all, I thought last week was great performances with their backs against the wall from a number of guys on Gonzaga's roster. So again, after a big kind of restructuring week, I guess you could call it for Gonzaga, they move on to another week of games with a Wednesday Saturday split. The Wednesday game, as we sit here and record this on a Wednesday against Pepperdine, I don't expect Graham Ike to play. I don't think you need him to play. I think it would be one more good opportunity. Um, to be able to kind of work through some kinks on that small ball lineup. Obviously, Pepperdine's not great. They're 1-6 in league. Their only win is against Portland at home, 6-14 on the season. Gonzaga already beat them in Malibu in dominant fashion. So I think it's just EK sits, work through more comfort level with this group because you never know if they're going to need to play this type of style again at any point when you've got maybe foul trouble for EK before Huff comes back. I think it is another opportunity though where Diani gets some more extended minutes. I thought what we saw in the Seattle U game too was Noah Holland was good. Only played maybe 6-7 minutes, but he didn't hurt them. I thought he played well, gave him great minutes, did what he needed to do in his role. But the big one this week is on Saturday against USF. McGilvery Environmental can handle any of your construction needs, specializing in new construction, repairs, residential and commercial asphalt paving, excavation, environmental mediation, and hazardous waste. Reach out to Kip McGilvery at McGilvery Environmental today at 208 556 6384 for your free estimate. Big thank you to one of our sponsors, Cooney's Tie. My family and I live on the north side of Spokane, and we absolutely going to Cooney's Tie, whether it is in person, whether it's takeout. The food is always phenomenal, as authentic of Thai food as I have ever had throughout my travels across this country. Unbelievable service, unbelievable price, unbelievable people that are involved with Cooney's Thai. Whether it's the pad Thai, whether it's the pad CU, whether it's one of their awesome curries, you will be thankful that they took great care of you. Again, Cooney's Thai on the north side. Check them out online today, cooniesthai.com. Whether you want to sit in the restaurant and you have tremendous service or order for takeout, it will be piping hot and ready for you when you show up. Thanks again to Cooney's Thai. USF, as of now, sits at 5-3 in the league, 13-8 overall. They're a team that had a vote to win the league this year. Now, I didn't see that out of them, but I did think they were going to be better, and I thought they would challenge St. Mary's, for that second spot in the league. They've got really talented team with some good size, some athleticism. But they've been beset by injuries pretty darn bad. David Fuchs, one of their leading scorers, leading rebounders, he had one of the most interesting injuries I've heard of in quite some time. He got in a scooter injury, fell and hit his face on the sidewalk, missed a number of games, but he is back. Ryan Beasley sprained his ankle at LMU about a week and a half ago. Also had the flu. He's missed a couple games here and there because of those. But he's an explosive, dynamic scorer. Not much in regards to playmaking, which I think hurts them at times, ball dominant, but he had over 30 at LMU in an overtime loss a couple weeks back, and he can really get it going. He's played well against Gonzaga in the past. I'm sure he's going to be geared up, ready to go. And then the other player, two players that you got to keep an eye out for, Tyrone Riley, the fourth, really good player. He's been inconsistent this year, but he's one of those guys that you get him out in transition, he can do some damage. He's great on the offensive glass. His game, as far as decision making and shooting, maybe hasn't evolved as much this year as you would have liked, but he's a dangerous player. And the last one would be Mookie Cook. Mookie Cook is former McDonald's All-American. At one time, he was a top three player in his high school class. Gonzaga recruited him coming out of high school. Ended up starting off going to Oregon. Couldn't really crack the rotation. And transferred to USF, where he's had some knee injuries. But the word is that he will be back this week, and he will be ready to play against Gonzaga. So, what I would expect Gonzaga needs to do against USF, I would think EK would be back for that game. They've got to dominate the glass. They've got to get Jijiberia Wong in foul trouble, try to get Fuchs in foul trouble, limit Beasley, and dominate the glass. I think those are the ways that you really beat this USF team. And don't forget, uh, Gonzaga's got a heck of a win streak against USF. I believe, we've talked about the Pepperdine win streak in the past where it's now 50 games. I think they've got over a 30-game win streak against USF, which as good as USF has been over the last 2 years under Kyle Smith, Todd Golden, now Chris Gerlofson, that is pretty dang impressive. Last thing I wanted to touch on in today's broadcast is the NCAA, obviously they're in a no-win situation. They're in a really a no enforcement type situation with everything that's going on in the world of eligibility, in the world of revenue sharing, NIL, you name it. It's like they're playing reactive to set what the standards are, as opposed to these are our guidelines, and we got ahead of it so that there's clarity. We saw Baylor just get a G League player eligible about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Well, now there's news of another player, this time from a former Alabama player, Charles Bediako, who's 6'10", 6'11", averaged about 6.5 points per game as a freshman, declared for the 2023 NBA draft. So now this is 2.5 years ago. Declared for that draft, didn't get drafted, has played in the G League over the last couple of years, and now he's filed a lawsuit to be able to play for Alabama. If this goes through, like what's going to happen with any and every player that declared for the NBA draft and uh, didn't make the NBA? They've whether they've gone overseas to Europe, whether they've been in the G League. Um, there's just a craziness to it that I can't explain. And if he is granted eligibility, I think you're going to see the floodgates open for a number of schools to try to shore up their rosters, as they lead into conference tournaments, as they get ready for the NCAA tournament. Because at what point, if you're a student athlete, you got to be enrolled in classes. Well, second semester, whether you're on quarters or whether you're on semesters, you either started last week, this week, or maybe if it's an odd calendar for the school, you're starting next week. So this has to happen almost immediately. But if someone were to file another challenge, where does that lie in regards to your eligibility as a student athlete of being a true student? Because we saw in the national title football game the other night, Carson Beck basically admitted he hasn't been to a class in 2 years. So we're not really talking college athletics anymore, and we've touched on it here and there, but we're just talking about a a different level of professional athletics, and I don't necessarily like it. I think there's a lot that has been lost over the last couple of years. I'm fully for players getting paid, but I'm fully against how the NCAA has handled setting up guidelines, setting up a plan of attack of how rev share is going to work, of how NIL truly has to work, of how eligibility has to work. It's almost as like they just keep getting bombarded by all these new things without ever having seen them on the horizon. So unique week for Gonzaga. We'll see if Graham Ike plays again. I don't think he'll play on Wednesday. I think he'll play on Saturday. But it's a chance for Gonzaga to really extend that lead in first place as they sit at 7-0, because St. Mary's at 6-1 after losing to Santa Clara, who sits at 7-1. They can continue to separate themselves a little bit before next week Gonzaga plays against St. Mary's. So for the Bulldog broadcast, appreciate you listening on the Field of 68 Media Network, and don't forget to support our sponsors. Thanks. Take care. Go Zags.